So I see Irene passing out, are those sign-up sheets or?
Postcards to send to the Public Service Commissioner and Governor's Office to let them know that you're not in favor of repowering, that you want transitional support to the town of Lansing, and to move forward with building the grid for the future. So I'm trying to pass them out, but maybe there's a better way. Yes. If people can help with that.
Yeah, is there another volunteer maybe to help hand those out? I'll take questions for either Irene or Bryce at this point. And I will say that I have gotten phone calls and emails from people very interested in storage solutions. And I've learned I have 15 or 20 different companies in New York State already in operation with various kinds of storage solutions. And I learned something new about that that doesn't necessarily have to be associated with a particular energy source. It can sit anywhere along the line. And there are pros and cons, and at some other point we'll do a session on that. I'd love to see our community talking about not only residential solutions, but boy, would this be a great place to manufacture wind turbines, right? You don't need a lot of cargo going out because they're big, they take a long time to manufacture, so that might be perfect for us. So I saw other questions though.
Hi, I'm Francis Vanek from the College of Engineering at Cornell. A couple of comments and then a question. So I advised a project that also looked at the Cayuga Power Plant and what could be done with it, specifically looking at other options like waste to energy or biomass. And our project basically concurred with what you've presented because it really turns out that it's just the wrong size of plant. It's too big. It's from an older time when 300 megawatt power plants made sense. And you really had to bend over backwards to make it work for these other resources as well. And I thought it was very interesting that the repower option even ends up it's really like a 50 megawatt plant now to provide reliability. It's not a 300 megawatt plant anymore. So another thing is Irene mentioned storage and capacity and being paid to provide capacity even if you're not producing. And just one really interesting thing that's come up is that we as individuals, if we have a battery bank in our house or in our car, we too could enter into a contract with a grid to provide capacity, and we could also be earning money that way. So that function of the grid could be distributed just like the production function is. And then lastly, my question is, I really wanted to push a little more on this question of what is the real tax revenue going to be from the repowered plant? Because looking at your numbers, it's almost like it's sort of a backhanded victory for the environment because the plant has shrunk down so much from its heyday of burning coal. It's just producing so many fewer CO2 emissions anyhow. It's like you're well on the way, even if they did repower it for a while. Not that I want that, but you're well on the way to reducing the emissions. But because so much of the annual tax return would seem to me would be lost now because it's not producing all those kilowatt hours anymore, isn't it the case for Lansing that most of that revenue is gone anyhow? So why not go the rest of the way and eliminate the plant and look for perhaps new sources of tax revenue, or you have a lot more like renewable energy development in the town of Lansing that brings jobs, and with it indirect jobs and revenues and so on. If you just want to comment on that. Okay.
At this point, am I bringing, oh, you've got a mic.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Francis, what I can add to what you said, except yes. Yes to all of it. I think that it's a very risky venture. That's, there is no real money there, and I think that just as over the past several years, Lansing has been renegotiating their tax agreement almost every year as their value declines. They will still end up in that situation because their projections are only for, it takes I think 8 or 10 years to ramp up to 60 million, which is their reportedly projected tax valuation for this year. So, it'll be 10 years before they're up to that again. Yeah.
Other questions? Did I see another one over here?
I just have one question, and it seems that we're missing one large thing. If in fact this carnival model of running this Cayuga power plant fails, pretty much like a carnival, there's going to be a massive cleanup afterwards. Clearly 75 years or so burning coal is going to leave PCBs, other kinds of contaminants and pollutants. Won't that be a massive undertaking to clean that up, either now or sometime in the near future? And I assume that would provide jobs at fairly high level also. Has that been factored in at all in anybody's concerns?
It hasn't been factored in. Part of the question, as I alluded to before, is where's the money going to come from for that? And whether it comes from the government for brownfield cleanup or quite what would happen, and it's a process to get that money in. But yeah, eventually something has to happen. Who knows what those kind of reserves right near the lake are doing to our lake water, and certainly if the plant retires, nobody's going to be maintaining, or maybe they would be required. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what the DEC does in that kind of instance to require ongoing maintenance and checking.
I found a green slip that was actually filled out sitting on a bench, and I hope the person meant to hand it in because I grabbed it. They said, okay, well, we're happy to take it. Where are people handing those in if they're interested? We need everybody's ideas.
To you, me, Bryce, any of us will take your blue slips. So these blue slips are at the bottom of your program sheet, the blue page, and we would love to have your involvement in helping us figure out how to support workers and find jobs, how to move forward with a greener economy here. There are clearly lots of projects. If somebody wants to start looking into what happens after a power plant closes and who does pay for the damn cleanup, that would be great. Whatever. There's lots to be done, and we'd love to have people's involvement.
Did you have your...
Just a general question, is there some other way besides this blue slip for people to send the same information to you?
The question is, where is there another way besides this slip? If people weren't here, how do they get in touch?
Sure. I can give you my email address right now if you want to jot it down. I'm sorry, I didn't think to put it on anything.
Through a website?
What?
Through a website?
Yeah, through the ratepayers.com.
Ratepayersgroup.com.
Ratepayers. No, I think it's, Carol, I think it's just ratepayer. Oh, no, it is ratepayers group.
Ratepayers.
My email address
I'm sure
is Irene, IRENE, 32340 @gmail. Wait for the mic for your questions,
Wait for the
please.
mic. We have a question down here, and we're gonna try to hit people who haven't gotten to ask questions yet, unless this is about where to put in your slips. Okay.
Hi, I'm John Miller from the town of Ithaca. Just a question about what the process is officially for the decision. You folks have done a lot of research on this. Is there a formal opportunity for citizen input? Is there a process, or how do citizens intervene here?
Oh my goodness. The process came and went. It was a proceeding in the Lansing High School auditorium. One very hot, sticky day last July was the public hearing, and the comment period ended shortly thereafter. They've received this proceeding was coupled with the Dunkirk one that was just recently authorized to be repowered. Thousands, 7,000 or so comments, and they literally just write them off with a toss in their commentary. They just say, we heard from lots of people from all sides of the argument. And that was as much recognition as they gave. But that said, and that's these comment cards that I've just been passing around, the postcards, we actually do need to keep the pressure on the governor's office along with the Public Service Commission to let them know that we do not want repowering. We want to build a grid for the future. And meanwhile, that we also want them to provide transition support to Lansing.
Yeah. That said, while the official comment period for the case has ended, people are continuing to enter comments into the official case docket. And I'll tell you, if you have your pen out, how to find that. It's simply, if you search in any browser for 12-E-0577, that is New York State's assigned number for this case. And then there is a tab there that says public comments. You can get there to some 200 official documents in the case, which is what we've been looking through to learn the information we have about the case and what's been proposed, where we could find the information. And then there's a tab with what events might be coming up, and there aren't any new ones. And then there's a tab that there are about 7,000, over 7,000 comments there now. Those are the ones Irene is referring to that staff presented to the commission itself and said, yes, we heard from people on both sides. But we believe they may still be looking at them, and certainly other members of the public are still looking at these comments.
And we certainly do think that the fact that there has been controversy here has made a difference. Dunkirk was pretty well uniformly in favor of repowering. Their situation there was economically much more dire than what we have here. I believe that the power plant provided something like 60% of their school tax levy, and some 100 plus jobs in a relatively small community. It was, so it was a really big hit in a Republican district during a time when the governor is campaigning and wants to be able to say that he's supported jobs in upstate and he wants to be friends with the union. And there was a lot going on that we think led to that decision. And on the flip side, because here there were voices on both sides, it was the first time apparently the Public Service Commission had ever seen the kind of opposition and turnout at a meeting that they'd held. We think that that has played into why this has been stretched out for so long, and why the governor has postponed a decision until after the election is over with. You know the drill.
Okay. How many other, yeah. Sure. Well, so what's the sense of the body here, which is how I operate? How many more questions have we got that you really want to ask in a public venue as opposed
one
to
right there,
one right next to me? So why don't we take just one more? And
Carol, right there.
Right here, yes. I'm going to take that one, and this will be the last question, and then we'll break, and people can ask informal questions, or do you folks want a chance to wrap up after that?
It's fine. I think we're ready for informal and something to drink and move around.
Okay. I'm really sorry to those
Carol,
I didn't
give her
get
the
back.
microphone.
Yes,
Give her the microphone.
I'm just going to apologize to the people I didn't get to, because there were hands up back over here.
I didn't quite understand what the situation was with the transmission upgrades, and in terms of, I thought you said that they were also rejected. Is that correct? So in other words, were both rejected, but only Cayuga was asked to reconsider?
The transmission upgrades weren't really quite rejected. But because of this senator with a power plant, and because the governor, because this is a political issue, and because they're trying to do their best to honor the dicta that they consider repowering as an option before, usually when a plant wanted to close, they just upgrade the power lines and that would be that. But this whole thing has come into place largely because of the economic development issues, and so they really wanted to be able to at least say, we gave it the old college try. We sent them back to the drawing board to try again to come up with a better proposal. And so it actually happened with both proposals that they sent them back to the drawing board, both repowering and the order from the Public Service Commission was specifically that they work on a revised repowering proposal. So they didn't say that they rejected the transmission, they just said work on a revised repowering.
Because if NYSEG could really push, maybe they could have some clout.
Sorry, what?
If NYSEG could really push for repowering, that would maybe be helpful.
Yeah, I don't know to what extent the utilities push, and I think this is in their world. This is a pretty small project. Everybody wants in on the big games of putting in transmission lines to run down when they take out Indian Point Power Plant on the Hudson, and people want a piece of that action. They're not clamoring to get a piece of the Auburn action. So.
Well, thank you to our speakers, to the audience for coming out. And please, hand in your slips. We really could use input, and all your help is rolls for everybody, as I said. And please come and share a nice, cool beverage and refreshments.